Good morning. Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I figured I would bring y'all out with me today while I do morning chores for a little bit of a chit chat. I did a little bit of a catch-up video the other day, but there were a couple things I actually forgot to share. One big thing in particular that hopefully won't affect all y'all as far as like my ability to put out videos and stuff. But I needed to share about it just in case. I've been called up for jury duty. You know, I'm in my 50s. We've moved a lot over the years, and I've never actually been called up and actually been able to report to jury duty. Now, I had gotten the letter in the mail twice before. Once from the state of Tennessee, but we had already moved to Germany. And then once when we lived in the state of Alabama, but it was for Alaska. And we were a long ways from Alaska. So this is the first time that I've actually gotten the "you are ordered to report" letter, and will actually be able to do it. So on the paperwork, it says that it will be no more than 10 days of jury duty unless I'm being selected for a trial. I really hope I'm not being selected for a trial. But I'll let y'all know if that's the case. So we moved Sophie and Amos's fence recently. You know, we had to take them out of the area that they're normally in because we had to have our septic field replaced in a new area. Got this area where they had been originally. We ran the fence around and all the way over that way, all the way around the area like a long track, and their water is back over there where it was originally, right next to the creek. And this encourages them to actually move like a migratory animal would in nature. Hi, Amos. You know, we've generally always had their food and water kind of near each other, but this is a much healthier option, and it's actually called track grazing. You know, because generally when herd animals like this are out in the wild, their food and their water aren't, 5 feet apart. They have to walk for it. So it encourages exercise and movement and all of that. And goodness knows, both of these two, they could use a little movement. You know, we had put Sophie and Amos on a different kind of hay. We usually just have them on mixed grass hay, like this. But last year, there was an episode, you might say, where they would not touch this hay. Like, they wouldn't touch it. There was something going on. And so I switched them to a different kind of hay. And that other kind of hay was beautiful and green and rich. too rich because all the animals who were on hay started getting fat. They were so chunky, in fact, that we thought that Nancy, one of our goats, was pregnant. There was a time, it was about a year ago, where the bucks, the fence, got messed up and one of them was out. A branch had come down on it. And I went out in the morning doing chores, and there was Michael outside the fence. And I'm like, what are you doing? Well, not long after that is when we started noticing Nancy in particular was getting mighty chunky. And we thought she was pregnant. And as a matter of fact, a friend of mine who breeds goats was like, oh, she's totally pregnant. She wasn't pregnant, she was just fat. So we put them on, Sophie and Amos, on this kind of like track grazing system or setup so that they've got to walk a good ways to get around to where their water is, and then they come back around to where their food is. And again, it just encourages movement, gives them some exercise. There was one other thing that I wanted to share with y'all real quick, and that is about the new website. If you missed that announcement, I've been working behind the scenes quietly on a new project, and that is a ministry website. It is geared towards women, but I think that a lot of the things that I publish on there will be of interest to pretty much anybody. A lot of Bible study articles. To begin with, it's focusing a lot on the Sabbath, on Shabbat, different angles, different viewpoints of it, or ways to look at it, I should say. But not everything is about the Sabbath on there. I've got approximately 20 articles that are already published. However, the website isn't live yet for the public. That is going live this Friday. So the day that this video goes up, in just a few more days, that the website will be live and will be available. There is a Instagram account that I set up for it and a Facebook page, so that if you would like to follow those to stay connected, you'll be able to do so. I also have an email list that I created. It's within my regular email newsletter account, but I created a category just for the walking and tourist stuff, so I can send out newsletters to a separate list. And really, all I'm going to be sharing there is updates whenever there's new things that have been added or published. That's not going to be a send out emails every week sort of list. If you go to walkingandtorah.com right now, you'll be able to see that link where you can sign up for that. And now I have no plans to create a whole new YouTube channel. I am going to be doing YouTube videos and podcasts of every little mini study that I publish on the website, just to help reach more people. And I'm going to be doing those videos on this channel right here. However, I did go ahead and secure the Walking in Torah YouTube channel just in case down the road I ever feel led to do something there. When you have even an inkling that you might ever want to do something, you should always secure the URLs or names of across the board, whether you plan on using them or not. Always good to secure those. That way someone doesn't come and snatch it up and hold it hostage. Whether it's a URL for a website or, Instagram or other social media handles and things like that, you always want to secure it. That's just something that I've learned over the years with doing, blogging as a business. You want to make sure you secure all of those just in case. But yes, so that is a little bit of an update on that. like I said, most of the studies will be relevant to anybody who wants to learn and read them. But the website is geared towards women. You'll be able to tell that as soon as you visit it, just because of the imagery and the colors and the writing style and all of that. There's a planner, printable planner. It's the one that I've had on Cosmopolitan Cornbread for a long time. I just changed the labeling and I added it to Walking in Torah. It's a 2-page printout that you can use to plan your Sabbath and your fellowship meetings and things like that. Just an easy little planner page that you can print out. And, like I said, that's been on Cosmopolitan Cornbread for ages, but I made a version of it for Walking in Torah also. There are Bible reading plans, slightly different than the ones that I've had on Cosmopolitan Cornbread for years. But there's 2 versions on Walking in Torah. I like to do ones that have no date on them, so that you can start them anytime and you can just continue on. And if something happens, you miss a couple of days, you don't feel overwhelmed or, like discouraged because, look, I'm now only on this date or that date. You just pick up where you left off. And doing the reading plans that way has been, I think, such a blessing because, I've had people reach out to me and tell me that they read the entire Bible for the first time using those plans, because if they got behind, they didn't get discouraged and felt like, oh, I'll just have to try again next year. No, there's no date. They're just all in order, and you just keep on going where you left off. And so you'll be able to get those there as well. So I will be sharing the studies, like all of the studies that I publish on the website will also be recorded in video and audio form so that I can share them here on the channel and then also publish them on podcasting platforms. So that is the goal. I was spending some time yesterday doing my homework on it, figuring out how to create the audio files. I kind of already knew where to, actually upload them and publish them. But, yeah, so I've been working on that also behind the scenes. Lots of stuff's been happening here, even if you didn't see it all. So, and this coming week is actually going to be a very busy week. I've got a part of a cow to go pick up this week. We ordered beef from one of the local farm, one of the families actually in our fellowship. They raise beef cattle. So it was time to order some more beef. I've got Azure Standard pickup this week. My daughter is coming for a very short visit. She wasn't able to come for a long one. She just started a new job, and when you've started a new job, you don't generally have much vacation time. So she's just going to come in for a couple of days. I'm going to go pick her up at the airport, and we'll do a little bit of antiquing that morning. While we're up there near the airport, because I've never visited any antique stores up there in the farthest corner of Northwest Arkansas, up there near the airport, Bentonville, Fayetteville area, all that. So I've got them mapped out, and we'll hit a few, get some lunch somewhere, and then we'll head back down this way so she can spend time with the whole family. And of course, there's other things going on this week. And Friday, the launch of the website. So I'm excited and nervous about it. I don't take things like that very lightly, but I have been encouraged for years to do something like this by a lot of people. And I've spent a lot of time in prayer about it and just asking for the Father's leading. If you have topics that you would like to see covered or addressed, from a biblical standpoint, you can message me, request that. I can't guarantee that I'll do it. It's just gonna, it'll have to have a good fit, and I'll have to have a strong leading on what to say about it. But you can send me a message through Walking in Torah. There is a contact page where you can send me an email there. You can also message me via the messenger tool on the Instagram account or the Facebook page. And again, that's all Walking in Torah. So if you have questions or anything related to that, please send them there. I want to try and keep it separate from Cosmopolitan Cornbread if I can. It'll just make it easier to find messages later on. I get messages through Cosmopolitan Cornbread. I get a lot of messages, and sometimes it's really hard to find the ones that I need to address or go back to and reply to. I've been doing Cosmopolitan Cornbread for a really long time, and having your information, your contact information out there publicly, it gets picked up. I get spammed. I get mailing lists that I never signed up for. And so, and then of course, just all of the messages I get. So sometimes it is difficult to get through those. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the rest of the week. Again, it's a busy one, but I'm looking forward to spending time with my daughter. I haven't seen her since last Thanksgiving. She wasn't able to come this year, but it's going to be a quick but lovely visit, I'm sure. I will put links down below to all of the stuff with Walking in Torah if you would like to check that out. Again, you can sign up for the email list right there at walkingintorah.com. That page, you can see that page with the sign up link and all of that, and just get notified about when the website goes live and anytime there are new things added. So with that, I am going to head into the house and get started on the day. So God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.